Good morning, Year 7. I hope you're well and having a lovely day. Welcome to today's lesson on the poem Kid by Simon Armitage. For this lesson, you'll need a pen and your book, a copy of the poem, and highlighters or coloured pens. I hope you enjoy reading and studying this poem. Thank you. Okay, so for your do now. Has anyone ever made you feel like their sidekick or shadow before? Who was it? And how did it make you feel? If not, how do you think it would feel to be a constant sidekick to a much stronger and more impressive person? Pause the video for 5 minutes or so to answer these questions. Okay, so as we normally do, we're going to start by thinking about meaning, and in particular, we're going to start with the title. So what do you think this poem might be about? The title is Kid. Write down as many ideas as you can. Pause the video for 5 minutes to do this now. Okay, so you may have written a child, someone who feels like a child but isn't actually one, or potentially a baby goat, which is also called a kid. Okay, let's read it through together. One of the things I really like about this poem is the really catchy rhythm. Batman, big shot, when you gave the order to grow up, then let me loose to wander, leeward freely through the wild blue yonder, as you like to say, or ditch me rather, in the gutter. Well, I turned the corner. Now I've scotched that he was like a father to me rumour, sacked it, blown the cover on that he was like an elder brother story, let the cat out on the caper with a married woman, how you took her downtown on expenses in the motor. Holy Robin Redbreast nested shocker, holy roll me over in the clover. I'm not playing ball boy any longer. Batman, now I've doffed that off the shoulder, Sherwood Forest green and scarlet number, for a pair of jeans and crewneck jumper. Now I'm taller, harder, stronger, older. Batman, it makes a marvellous picture. You without a shadow, stewing over chicken giblets in the pressure cooker, next to nothing in the walking-nada, punching the palm of your hand all winter. You baby. Now I'm the real boy wonder. Okay, so what do you think this poem is about? I'd like you to think about who is speaking, who they are speaking to, and why they are speaking. For a challenge, I would like you to use quotes from the poem to support your answer. Pause the video for 5 minutes to do this now. So hopefully quite a few of you will be familiar with Batman and Robin. So Batman is of course a superhero with superhero powers, and Robin is his trusty sidekick, though of course not in this particular poem. So it's written from the perspective of Robin, who is the speaker. He's separated from Batman and is feeling glad that he has moved on, as we can see through the quote, "Now I'm taller, harder, stronger, older." He feels annoyed that he was always a sidekick to Batman. I'm not playing ball boy any longer. So if you think about the comics, the Marvel comics, then he was the ball boy to the tennis player that was Batman. He was a sidekick, he was a shadow. Batman was the one with the superpowers and the strength and that, went up against the villains. Robin was just his trusty sidekick who helped him out, but didn't have any real powers himself. So that's why in this poem, Robin, the speaker, is feeling really pleased he got away from Batman. Robin likes to think that Batman is weaker without him, next to nothing in the walking-nada, punching the palm of your hand all winter. Though of course, this could just be wishful thinking. He likes to think that Batman is weaker without him, but maybe he's not. Maybe Batman is absolutely fine. However, that's up to interpretation. Okay, anything you didn't write down, please could you add it to your notes now? Okay, so now we're going to go on a quote quest. What I'd like you to do is find quotes from the poem to support the following statements. Batman always told Robin what to do. Batman got rid of Robin. Batman had an affair with a married woman. Robin is wearing something different now. Robin is more powerful than he was before. Robin thinks Batman is helpless without him, and Robin has a good opinion of himself now. So I'll give you a clue. For the first one, look at the first line of the poem, and that should help you. Okay, so pause the video for 10 minutes to do that now. And another little clue is the order of these statements follow the order of the poem. So you're looking down the poem to find these statements. Pause the video now to do this. Okay, so these are the quotes. Batman told Robin what to do, you gave the order. Batman got rid of Robin, ditched me in the gutter. And the reason I've put the ellipsis, so 3 dots there, is because I've missed out a couple of words. So if you want to use a quote, but you don't want the entirety of the quote, you want to miss out the middle section, you do 3 dots to represent the section that you've missed out. Batman had an affair with a married woman. The married woman, how you took her downtown. So the reason I've got that forward dash is because it means I'm going on to a new line. So if you want to quote a poem and it goes over more than one line, where the line is, you do a forward slash. Robin is wearing something different now. I've doffed that off the shoulder, Sherwood Forest green and scarlet number, for a pair of jeans and crewneck jumper. Doffed is to get rid of something. It's colloquial or informal language that it's not a word that we often see these days. Robin is more powerful than he was before. Now I'm taller, harder, stronger, older. Something to note about these adjectives is their comparative adjectives. So if a word is comparing two things and it ends in er, it's a comparative. So we've got a list of 4 comparative adjectives telling us that he's now better and more powerful than he was before. Robin thinks Batman is helpless without him. You baby. We've got direct address there, so he's directly addressing Batman with this insult. And then Robin has a good opinion of himself. I'm the real boy wonder. So the word real, the adjective real, is really important there because the implication for Batman is that he isn't a real boy wonder. He's a fake boy wonder, and Robin is the real deal. Again, indicating this shift that he used to be a shadow, he used to be weak and vulnerable, but by the end of the poem, he sees himself as stronger, he sees himself as the main character. So a real change and real shift in terms of his identity. So let's do some close analysis. We're going to zoom in on this particular section. Batman, it makes a marvellous picture. You without a shadow, stewing over chicken giblets in the pressure cooker. Next to nothing in the walking ladder, punching the palm of your hand all winter. You baby, now I'm the real boy wonder. So we're going to look at that in more detail. What I would like you to do is underline all the places where the poet uses alliteration. We've talked about this technique quite a lot. It's where there are 2 or more words in close succession that start with the same letter. What word class does the word marvellous belong to? And what does it tell us about Robin? So for that, you may want to look at your knowledge organiser or look online if you need to refresh your memory about word classes. But we've covered that quite a lot, so I'm sure you're all very confident about the word classes. Robin saw himself as a shadow. How did he used to feel about himself? So what does shadow mean? And how does that represent the way he felt about himself in the past? Chicken giblets refers to the parts of the chicken that people don't normally want. They're actually referred to as offal. So things like hearts, liver, and other organs. Why does Robin indicate Batman will be cooking these? What does it tell us about his perception of Batman? And what is different about the punctuation in the final line? Why is it different? So look at the lines previously, then look at the final line, do a bit of a spot the difference. Why is that final line different? And why did the poet make that choice? So pause the video for 15 minutes in order to do this now. Okay, so answer to question 1. I've put in different colours the different places where there's alliteration. So we've got shadow stewing, next nothing, punching palm. If you didn't get this, please could you underline it and label it with alliteration. So marvellous. Marvellous is an adjective, and the adjective marvellous tells us that Robin is overjoyed at the thought of Batman being alone and struggling without him. So if he said, oh, it makes a nice picture, it makes a good picture, that wouldn't be quite as strong as the adjective marvellous, which is obviously a much greater type of joy. So that's the kind of analysis we need, really digging into the particular choices of the poet. So Robin saw himself as a shadow. How did he used to feel about himself? So a shadow isn't its own entity. It's not a thing in and of itself. A shadow is merely a representation of a person. So the fact that he saw himself as as Batman's shadow indicates he didn't have his own identity or purpose. He was merely a sidekick to Batman. He was merely, part of Batman. He wasn't his own person, and it indicated he felt like nothing. He felt quite had quite a dark mood because shadows are dark, and he felt that he was barely being noticed. Chicken giblets. This indicates that he likes to imagine Batman having fallen on hard times, because chicken giblets, being the parts that people don't want of the chicken, they're often very cheap. So the implication there is that Batman can no longer afford more expensive food, potentially, and so he's cooking chicken giblets, or alternatively, he lacks the skill to make more sophisticated dishes. So maybe as his sidekick, Robin did all the cooking, and Batman just sat back and watched him cook. So now that he has to cook himself, he has no choice but to make something much more simple. And what is different about the punctuation? With the previous lines, there's end stopping or punctuation at the end of the lines. However, with the last line, there's a comma after the word baby to emphasize that Batman is now powerless and to emphasize the final declaration that Robin is the real boy wonder. So the fact that it's different to the previous lines really makes you take notice of that comma, because it breaks the flow slightly, which is clearly the intention of the poet, to kind of make you sit up and listen, both to the insult, you baby, which is again a real shift away from him being this compliant sidekick, in addition to I'm the real boy wonder, once again a shift from how he used to be, quite powerless, quite submissive, quite passive, to how he is at the end, much more powerful and much more in control. Okay, so finally, I would like you to write a Peel paragraph answering the following question. How is Robin presented in Kid? So just to reiterate, Robin is the speaker. How is the speaker Robin presented? So we've done a lot of Peel paragraphs, but I've given you a structure to help you out. So firstly, point. You're using the words of the question to make a really clear link. Robin is presented as. All you need to do is fill in that word at the end of the sentence. Then you give your evidence. This can be seen through the quote. So you're finding a quote that supports your description of Robin. Then you're analysing that quote in terms of either language or structure. If you're doing language, maybe pick out a word, identify the word class, talk about what that word means. If you're doing structure, maybe you want to talk about listing. Think about what I was talking about, now I'm taller, harder, stronger, older. Or maybe you want to talk about end stopping. Maybe you want to talk about that last line when you've got that comma. So remember, structure is the way a piece of writing is organised, so how it progresses and encompasses things like punctuation. And then finally, you want to link back to the question. This highlights Robin is what? How do you describe him at the start? And maybe you want to develop the idea more. So if you say Robin is presented as confident, you don't want to repeat that exact same thing at the end, because what's the point? You would say this highlights Robin has grown in confidence and is now much more independent than he used to be. So you see, you're supporting your first point, but you're not just repeating it, you're adding quality to your answer. So that link is really important in consolidating what your paragraph is about and developing it just a little bit more. So I've given you an example on the next. So Robin is presented as someone who has grown in strength and confidence. This can be seen through the quote, now I'm taller, harder, stronger, older. The listing, which is a structure device, I don't want you to put structure device, language device, I've just put it there for clarity. The listing of 4 comparative adjectives, which is the language device, reveals that Robin feels he is wiser and more powerful than he used to be. This highlights Robin has changed for the better since he has stepped out of Batman's shadow. So note that last link supports the first point without directly repeating it. So please pause the video for 10 minutes to do your own Peel paragraph. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much for your hard work. I'm really interested to see how you did with today's lesson. So please do make sure you upload as soon as you can, because I will be leaving comments on the work that you've done today. So thank you once again. Do email me if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.